remember the first time I discovered the quarry on Baker Road. Well, I mean, what's left of it. I've lived around this area my whole life, and specifically in Harkaway for the past 2 years. But, funnily enough, it took the restriction of movement for me to actually move around the spaces closest to me and to spend time looking, really looking. And as I started to look, I found a trail. And I kept following her, and what I have discovered has brought me closer to my history, closer to my community, and it's given me a rich understanding of the legacy etched into the paths that I pass every day. And now, I want to share what I've discovered, so that you too might know that these paths that I walk on, that you walk on, are rich with history, rich with significance, and have been home to a woman whose art and service to the country still lives on in the lives of people and places around you. A woman who wondered at the abundance of nature, at the thin bark trees and the rustling grass, the flora and fauna that bloom all around us. She crunched these very stones under her feet, just like you and I. And yet, she too marveled at industry, at the mechanization of our land. She had a dual adoration for nature and man and the relationality between it. This woman, Jessie Trail, have you heard of her? I certainly hadn't before this year, but the paths that you and I pass every day, she has walked. And further, much further. She is a woman who holds a precious part of our history. She was born in 1881 and grew to be one of Australia's most successful expatriate artists, recognised in both the national and international sphere as a highly skilled printmaker, rubbing shoulders with many Australian artistic greats. Think Tom Roberts, Frederick McCubbin, and John Mather. She exhibited across the globe in London and Europe, and amongst all this, even served our country in France as a nurse in World War I. But this series seeks to give you more than just the biography of someone in our history. Jessie's art captured the world she saw around her, not only across far seas, but here in her own backyard. So much so that we can step into the scenes she etched today, her work offering a doorway between her life and ours. Spending time getting to know Jessie and uncovering the works of her hand has changed the way I'm seeing the landscape around me. You see, by discovering more of our history, we discover more of ourselves. And it's through getting to know Jessie, her life, and her art that I've been getting to know more about myself in this place that we call home. So, why do hardly any know her name? After many years of studying art history, why was this year the first I had heard of Jessie Trail? Why is she not held high with pride as many of her male counterparts were? It's certainly not down to her artistic skill, nor the accolades she earned. Or is this another instance of patriarchal exclusion that dominates so much of the Western art historical canon? Still, this series seeks to do more than simply give Jessie Trail the recognition and celebration she does deserve. Through sharing this discovery of Jessie and her art, I hope you might gain a greater understanding of a piece of history that we all hold, and that you too might begin to see the beauty of nature and industry around us through her eyes. I wonder what Jessie would have thought of this quarry. The way that it captures both her fascinations in a suspended place between what industry has left behind and what nature has adopted. I wonder how she would have captured it. Together, over the next 5 episodes, we're going to follow her trail, picking up the bits and pieces of her in the people and places around us. We will talk to those who have written about her, who met her, whose stories intercept with hers, and who even now hold some of her works. And we will dive into these artworks, spend time in their scenes, and unpack their stories. And through this, uncover a jewel in our shared local history that still shines bright, even today.